So in this tutorial, we're going to learn how to develop an amazing SEO strategy for your website that will get you seen, get you more customers, and increase your sales. So let's first look at just a simple definition of SEO. So SEO, or search engine optimization, is the process of getting your website seen online by customers who will buy from you. So that breaks down to you need to be seen, get the right customers to your site, and then you need to get them to buy. So there's some technical aspects involved and there's some customer facing aspects involved, and it's important to remember that throughout this presentation. So in terms of developing an amazing strategy, there's actually 6 key steps you've got to follow through. You've got to develop a business objectives, then you've got to do SEO audits, develop a growth plan. We'll talk about multilingual SEO then and reporting, and then we'll talk about the customer experience side as well. Okay, so let's look at the simplest one first, the SEO Business Objectives. So when you look at developing your site, you need to ask yourself, what are the objectives of the SEO project? Why do you want to do SEO? So is it the fact that you want to just get lots more visitors to the site, so just increase the volume, or do you want to increase sales or conversion ratio, or is it something else you want to do? And you need to think about what's the call to action, right? So the key thing, if you compress this down, right, you've got who do you want to visit your site, and what do you want those visitors to do when they get there? So think about that. It's the most important 2 questions you need to ask before you start doing an SEO project. So what do you want? Once you know what you want, then you need to know how you're going to measure that and how you're going to evaluate your success. And that's quite easy, because if you know what you want, it's easy to measure the success. If you want more sales, you can measure that by revenue, or you can measure that by the number of conversions on the site, the number of actual sales on the site. If you wanted to improve your conversion ratio, you could track the number of visitors coming to the site versus the number of people who buy, and then you can measure that as a ratio, and over time you can improve that. So once you know that and you have the steps, then you're able to move forward to the next piece. And it's really super important that you do this work before you engage with an SEO agency, because sometimes you'll be working with an agency and the agency is saying, oh yeah, we're doing great things for your site, and you may not agree with them and they may not agree with you. So it's very, very important that you're on the same page. One of the things that we do even in Star is that I often will share with our customers the tools that I use, and I'll ask them about the tools that they're using, so that we're both measuring each other using the same system. That way we know what the target is and we know what the results are, and then it's very simple to see how well we're doing. Okay, so the next piece then, once we know what we're going to do and how we're going to measure it, is to do an SEO audit on the website. An SEO audit is very much a technical process, and effectively it measures whether your website is healthy. Are there mistakes on the site? Are there issues that might stop Google indexing the site and things like that as well? And it's something you have to do on a regular basis, but you can start off day one doing an SEO audit and fixing all the basic errors that are on the site. One thing that's most important to remember here is that Google loves clean, healthy, fast mobile sites. What Google is most focused on is the customer experience of your website. So Google wants to be the best web search engine in the world. So it needs to be able to be seen to be presenting good quality websites to users. So that's why you always need to make sure your website is clean, so that they can index it well, healthy, so that it's always live and always available, fast, so that it loads quickly for your customers, and then it's also mobile friendly. That's why it's useful to make sure that your site is responsive as well. So within an SEO audit, these are technical audits that most SEO companies do. They perform a very intensive technical inspection of your site, and they will highlight and find page errors, code errors, JavaScript errors. They'll find images that are slow to load. They will be able to measure the load speed of any particular page and the site in general. There'll be things like bounce rates that you can measure off a site as well to see what parts of the site are working well. And they do a lot of on-page SEO stuff, like looking at your title tags, your alt tags, and keyword research and things like that as well. So it'll tell you if your site works well and that Google can index it. So over time, you define a regular work plan with your SEO agency to go, or your web designers, to go in and fix these errors so that your site is clean, healthy, and fast. And we recommend you do this once a month. So now you've got a site that's clean. The next part is how are you going to grow traffic to that site? So you need to define what the growth plan is and how you're going to hit that. So in terms of SEO growth, there's a number of ways. Effectively, it all boils down to getting people and traffic coming in. So it's inbound growth is the most important thing. Simplest one is to do link building, but while I say simple, it's actually one of the hardest things to do in SEO, because links from other sites to you builds your reputation and it gets more customers coming to you. And you have to define a define a strategy to build these over a period of time every month. Some companies, there's a debate whether it's best to do maybe 5 to 10 new inbound links a month, and other companies might say 20 or more. It all really depends on how much time and effort you want to put into it. But it is a hard job to get inbound links. Now, certainly the next part that will help you with that is to have good content creation processes. So content creation is the data that you produce for your website. And you need to ask yourself, so why would anybody visit your site? And you need to think hard about that. Most people, I'm not going to come to your site because you claim to be the best person in the world at doing ABC, or you offer the best service at ABC. What's important to me is something that I value as a customer. An example I always give, if you're a plumber, for example, if you had a section on your website that helped a normal person solve the top 10 or the top 2 or 3 issues in, how to fix a leaky tap, or a leaking pipe, the simple stuff, enough that a normal user would come in, look at the site and say, hey, that's useful, I'll remember that, and then when I need a real plumber for a more serious job, I know who I'm going to call, and you'll be the number one person to get that traffic, right? But give people a good reason to come to your site. And so make any of the content that you create valuable, and you should have a process for developing good, valuable content. You don't have to do lots of content. If you developed one article a month, for example, that would be a huge amount of stuff, and very valuable if it is good, valuable content to a customer. The next thing, once you've generated that content, is to socially share it. So to get people to see it, link to it, and come back to your site. So you need to think about how you're going to share that. Obviously, you decide on your channels, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, or any of the other social media channels. And make a list of your good content. So for example, if you have a content such as how to fix a leaky tap, good content can be shared multiple times. So sometimes people think that, if you share something on Twitter, oh, that's it, I can't share it again. You can. You can share the same article on how to fix a leaky pipe every month. No one will notice the difference, and people will probably be enthused about, oh yeah, there's that thing. I remember I saw that before. If they haven't linked from it, they'll remember you. They're the guys that fix the leaky pipes. And it is useful to do that. Social media has a very short memory span, so you can do a lot of good things like that. It's also useful to have content created in advance. So for example, I have articles that we've written around certain types of mistakes in translation. So when we see in any of the newspapers or on any of the TV channels, when certain translation types of mistakes are made, we can republish our data around that, and it generally gets sort of picked up. So for example, in the case of leaky pipes, that's something you could certainly share around winter time. If you see a cold snap coming in, that would be very valuable. So think about your own business. What content can you create, and when should you be able to share it? Now, there's also, at the end of the day, you're trying to sell, and it is useful to put out the odd advertisement on your social media channels. Something like saying, yes, we're the best plumber in the business, give us a call. Now, it's okay to do that maybe one in every 10 or 11 posts. Don't do it too often, because you have to remember, too much business is a turn off for people on social media. Social media is supposed to be, as it's described, social. So it's supposed to be friendly, useful, and valuable to people. So balance lots of social content with the odd sales message. And it's useful actually to define a schedule around your activity as well. So for example, one thing that a lot of companies do is they have Fun Friday Fact or Fun Friday, or you could do Tuesday Tip. So define within your own company when you want to put out your data, because what that then does is it gets people familiar with your company, so they know then, oh yeah, that's every Wednesday the guys put out that content at 3 o'clock, and you can build a sort of a following around that. So it's useful to do that, right? And if you do want to get more sophisticated at this, there are tools like Hootsuite, for example, or TweetDeck, and you can use any of these type of tools for sending out lots of tweets and social media posts, and you can schedule them as well in advance. So, for example, if you have 20 or 30 articles, you could sit down on a Monday afternoon and schedule all your posts for the next month or 2 months, and then there's no more work to do within that period of time. So it's very, very useful to be able to grow traffic that way. So now you've got your information being sent out, and you're starting to build a following. The next step is to go multilingual and develop an audience across the world. So multilingual SEO is really all about getting seen around the world, and it starts fundamentally with a website translation. So just translate your website. Now, it can be quite expensive to translate all of your website, especially if you say you want to do it in 5-10 languages. So what you can do is you can decide a plan on how best to do this. Perhaps you might do 1 or 2 languages and do 2 or 3 pages a month. You don't have to do the whole website, or you could do microsite, but sit down and schedule an investment, what you expect from the different language sites, and then roll them out slowly but surely, because this gives you very consistent output, and it's very useful for both you, your customers, and Google. Google likes consistent output rather than a big blast and things. So sometimes that sort of seen as spamming, and it doesn't really like that as much, right? Certainly, you can also do things like multilingual keyword research and multilingual site SEO as well. Think about your own product as well when you do this, and your translation company can help you. If you're doing SEO, for example, for cheap hotel rooms, not everybody likes the term cheap. In some companies, or some countries, should I say, people prefer to search for economical hotel rooms. So think about that before you do your translation as well. But again, your translation company should and will be able to help you with that. So now you've got a system that's up and running and firing data out all the time. So the next part is to report and monitor how you're doing. So in terms of SEO reporting, you need a couple of different things here. One is you need regular website policing. So you need to make sure that the brilliant site that you've just built stays clean and stays healthy. So you need to do regular audits of that data to make sure it's clean and stays there. You also need to do SEO reports as well to see how you're ranking and things like that as well. And you should absolutely do these on a monthly basis. And that's a fixed, right? The thing to remember is that SEO is a continuous process. Google indexes the web typically between 60 and 90 days, every 60 and 90 days, right? So from that perspective, sometimes you make changes, you have to wait to see whether Google likes them in 60 and 90 days, right? So that ongoing measuring process takes time. So you're in this for the long haul. Another thing, just winding back a little bit to some of the SEO audit, and it's sort of connected here, right, is that you should always be looking at your website from 2 perspectives. One is, how do you look to Google? So what does the website look like to Google? And the second part is, what do you look like to your customers? So from a customer's point of view, is it cool? And from a Google point of view, is it cool? And both, you need to win on both of those sides to get great SEO results. So let's look at the search engine results. So when you type something into Google, like translation services, the search engine results pages, or the SERPs as they're known, right, gives you a list of websites that Google recommends. Well, here's the best things that we think that we can find on the web that might be suitable for your search term. right? Now, if you drill into one of these search terms, where does this data come from? So the search engine results page, the actual tag, so you can see here translation services for documents and websites, that's the title tag of the web page, and the description underneath is the page description from our web page. So the two most important meta tags on your website are your title tags and your description tags. Now the reason why they are the two most important tags is because this is what Google indexes. They're going to show to a customer, and it's the first thing that a customer will read on Google before they go to your site. So you may have a fantastic website, but if this is wrong, it has spelling mistakes, or it doesn't have proper data in it, or it doesn't read well, no one is going to click on it. So you have to take that away from this presentation. And so you need to write your SERPs for people, right? It's because if you look, for example, on this one, we have star ... Those three dots at the end mean that Google has cut the text off. Now, I know because it's our website, it says star translation services. So I'm okay with it dropping those last two words, right? But if it was your company and it was like plumbing services and it just said star, people may not know that you're a plumber. So you've got to be very, very careful with this, right? So part of the SEO audits that we actually do is that we produce a list of all of your SERPs and we read them. We actually send them to people to read and say, well, would you click on this? And if not, why not? Because it's like every single page title and description is an advertisement for your business. This is like a Google ad. So it's super duper important to make sure that it is as clean and it is appealing to your customers to make them want to click on it and go to the site to learn more. If you want to know more about SERPs, I do have another video on SERPs and SEO. It's called the world's shortest SEO course. It just only talks about two things, and you can find it on YouTube and take a look at it as you like. Okay. So now we've got that. The last piece we need to look at is the customer experience. Now we get to people. So customer experience testing is really important because you've built a great site, SEO'd it, everything's great, it's turning up in Google, but does it work for your customers? Have you ever used a website yourself and you go, why am I on this website? Because I can't find what I'm looking for, and this is so annoying. And who wrote this? And you'll see text that's so frustrating, and it's just like, why can't they just tell me what they do, right? This is what you may actually be doing the same thing to your customer. So it's very, very important that when you've built a site, that you actually get real people to look at that site, not your developers, real people, customers. So part of what we do is we can actually provide in-country user testing. And if you can get people in countries, whether they're your customers or whether they're salespeople or people like ourselves, right, get them to sit down and use the site like a normal person would. Here's what I'm searching for. Here's what I want to buy. Can I find it? Does the site work? Does it do what I think it's supposed to do? And can I find what I want quickly? Are there spelling mistakes? Are there stupid things on the site that need to be removed? Is the translation any good? Right? And is the website confusing? Ask yourself these types of questions, right? And you get that website usability feedback, and then you feed it back into the site and you rebuild the site. Because at the end of the day, if you take this channel, the full process that we've looked at, you've done the SEO to get the customer, you've written nice SERP text so that people say, yeah, I want to buy this product, and then they go to the site. Can they find it? Can they buy it? Can they buy it in the time that they want, in the currency that they want? Can they get it in the shipping options that they want? And is the process a nice, easy process for your customers? Because that's where the killer conversions come from. The higher the conversion rate, the more sales you get. So, in summary, what have we learned about SEO? Okay, so developing a strategy. There are 6 really key steps that you need to follow through. There's the SEO Business Objectives. Why are you on the web? What are you trying to do? You then look at the audit to make sure your site is clean, it's fast, Google likes it, and it'll rank. Then you look at the growth plan in terms of how are you going to disseminate the information from that website, get your site visible, and get people to come in. Then you look at the translation, the localization, and expanding your markets. Following this, then you look at reporting in terms of measuring your success, what's working, what's not working, what needs to be improved, and then you look at the customer experience. Is it working for my customers? Are the customers buying? Are the customers happy with the site? And does it work for them? And if you have this as a clear plan, it delivers consistency and it gives quality results all of the time. And that's what you really need to get in place for a successful SEO strategy. If you want to know more, you can download the template from our website, starts.com/SEO, where you have the strategy document. You can just fill in the blanks and it'll give you a good start in terms of how to define how to roll out your SEO plan. And if you'd like to know more, you can contact me directly at Star SEO Services. So my name is Damien Scattergood. I'm the Managing Director of Star Translation Services. And you can contact me directly below.